the year, and you don't have to write a big check at the end of the year. If you have more than 20% equity in your house, then you don't have to escrow. You can tell, if you're refinancing, you can tell your lender, I don't want to escrow. I'm fine with coming up with my own taxes every November and my own insurance when it's due.
Is there a fee associated with escrowing?
Well, if you choose not to escrow, like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, they have a small one-time fee, usually runs a couple $100, $400 or so, to not escrow.
But if you are escrowing, there's no fee attached to that.
Correct.
It's just something that's beneficial to you, kind of.
The lender really wants you to, because if you get like behind on your property taxes or you don't pay your homeowner's insurance, it causes a bunch of problems.
Yeah.
So they want those things to be automatically paid. So that's why they penalize you a little bit if you don't escrow, but you don't have to. So they're saying that their lender's telling them they got to escrow 12 months of insurance. And that's right, because right now, let's say we're doing a loan and we close it in September. You don't have an October payment. You always typically you skip 1 month's mortgage payment. So their first payment's going to be November 1st. And they've got to set up the new escrow account. So that means you got to put 12, 13 months worth of the taxes into that account so that when it comes November and the taxes get paid, that their money's there. But what happens with your current escrow account is you're going to get refunded that money. So you might have $3,000 or $4,000 with your current lender in an escrow account. They're going to send that back to you. So you can choose to add that into the loan. You can choose to bring that to the closing table, knowing that you're going to get a refund from your current escrow account. There's a number of ways to do it. So, they say their lender is forcing them to do that. You have to put the right amount of money in there for the escrow account to be current. So when it's time for the taxes to be paid and the insurance to be paid, that the money's there. So it's just a timing issue, that this is the time of year when it's costing them $4,500 to set up that escrow account. But remember, you're going to get back whatever's in your other escrow account. So some people will bring it to the closing table knowing they're going to get a refund.
So if you're just buying a house for the first time, you have to do that also?
A little bit different. When you're first buying a house, you will pay for your first year's insurance. You buy that whole policy as part of the closing.
I see.
And then you'll escrow an additional 2 or 3 months on top of that, because it's going to be 2 or 3 months before, it's going to be probably the 2-month mark before your first payment is due. So you put a little bit extra in there. That way you're not short the next year. Taxes, usually they'll just collect like 2 or 3 months from you. And then you get a credit from the seller for the months of the year that have already passed by.
That's what I was curious about. Because if you're buying it in October.
So if you buy a house in September, you're going to get 9 months of credit from the seller for proration of taxes. But then when the taxes are due, you got to pay that whole bill yourself.
But you'll get, I see.
Yeah. And ideally the lender's going to set up the escrow account so that come November, when the taxes are due, that the funds are in there and you don't get into a shortage situation.
How can you make sure your lender's doing that? Is that typical?
I will say, so what happens when you buy a house is that the property taxes get reassessed after you own it. So if you buy a house and the previous owner, they bought it in 1985 and their taxes are $400 a year, common sense is going to tell you your taxes are going to go up, because when that house gets reassessed, your taxes will probably be $3,000 or $4,000 a year. They've gone up that much. So as a lender, I look at it and see how long it's been that the previous homeowner was in there. And we'll also go to the county and do a tax estimator of what they say they think the new assessment will be. And that's the figure that you should use when you're buying a house and setting up that mortgage. That way there's not a big shortage, the next year when taxes come due. Excellent question. Thanks for texting that into 77031. You're listening to Home Loans Radio. Join the party. You can text in your questions, anything having to do with real estate, home loans. If you want to get more information and don't have time to listen to us, go to homeloansradio.com. It's just chock full of mortgage info, and you can go there anytime during the week. You can also get me a question there anytime during the week.
Yeah.
There's a box there that says Ask Don. You just you fill that in, and that comes to my email. I'll answer your questions.
Yeah. So we're kind of lucky here in Florida that we didn't get any of that hurricane.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like we just dodged it. I mean, I kind of don't even want to say it out loud. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Knock on wood or something. No, that I was really kind of shocked to hear. I hadn't, seen any news about it in a day or so. I heard that there were over 50 people died up in the Northeast from flooding. You think the impact is just in Louisiana, but man, that storm carried all the way up, I guess, 8 or 9 states where they had pretty serious damage from it.
Yeah.
Did you see some of the video of the flooding, water going into the subways and stuff?
Crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, an entire wall just kind of just bursts away like a dam.
Oh, in New York?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Obviously, our hearts go out to those people that
Yeah,
are suffering,
so
and
many
flooded
states.
out, and
Yeah.
it's been so many years since we really had a really big one in Florida, but I don't want it. So,
I know. Every time they say it, it's like everyone says we're due for one, and then it skips us. So
we got a
feel very lucky about that.
pretty serious hurricane out there right now. Hurricane Larry, which I thought was kind of a funny name. Larry, I don't know, just sounds funny to me.
My neighbor has a hurricane named after him. That's great.
All right,
Hurricane Larry, like Larry Bird.
Hmm.
But that one looks like it may stay out at least for now out in the ocean. But it's up to like 125 mile an hour storm.
When is the end of hurricane season?
No.
Oh, it used to be.
November? What is it, Fritz?
November 1st.
Yeah.
All right.
You're listening to Home Loans Radio. We're going to take a quick break. Come right back. Answer some more of your questions.
You're listening to Home Loans Radio on Real Radio. Now back to the show with that mortgage guy, Don.
Yeah, back to the show. Home Loans Radio with that mortgage guy, Don. That music is so sultry. I like it. Yeah.
All right.
Banging. It slaps.
It's got a vibe. Yeah. Slippery.
I'm going to dump that.
Welcome back.
It's smooth. It's just like,
Welcome back to Home Loans Radio, folks. Where we talk about mortgages. I talk about mortgages anyway. I don't know what these two are going to. I never actually ever know what they're going to talk about. But we're here. We're doing what we do every single weekend morning. I am a mortgage expert. I answer your questions live here on air. You can text them into 77031. You can also go to thatmortgageguyDon.com, homeloansradio.com. Hit a button there that says give Don a shout. And you can record an audio question. If it's a good one, then we'll play it on air. You got one queued up here, Fritz?
I do. You want to hear it?
Let's do it.
Hey, mortgage guy Don. My wife and I are thinking about putting in a water slide that starts from our third floor bedroom and whips around through the kitchen and outside around the tree and into the pool. Do you think that would increase the value of our house because it makes it more awesome? Or would some people feel like it would take away the value of the house? And do we even care about those boring people? Love the show.
Okay, so he said it was a water slide. Did he mention a pool, or is it just a water slide?
Yes, it does go into a pool. It goes into a pool.
Said he's got like a 3-story house apparently. The water slide's going to start on the third floor, go through the house, out the window, down the second floor, and then outside again and into the pool.
I mean, that sounds like a great time.
I feel like I may be getting punked here.
There could be some liability issues. I'm wondering about insurance.
Yeah, I mean, what if you forget to open the window?
Oh, well, that's just a smack.
He's like,
Middle of the water
early
slide.
morning, I'm going to take my water slide and go visit the pool. And it's like, all right, this is good. And then just.
Let's let's pretend let's take it as a serious question.
Okay.
I think that it would improve the value of the house for you.
In theory,
yeah, but it might make it kind of a liability. Most homes in Florida that have pools don't even have diving boards anymore.
Yeah,
because
that's a liability.
Yeah, is that why?
Insurance. Yeah,
sure.
If you have a diving board on your home pool, your insurance would be like double. There's so many. They used to have so many accidents take place on diving boards. So,
gosh, remember everyone had a diving board.
Growing up, everybody had a diving board in their pool. Now you don't see them anymore.
No.
It's because it cranks up your insurance or maybe even makes you uninsurable in some cases the way it is now. But I think that would be fun. And yeah, I think you should go for it. Don't worry about those people that, what did he say? Those boring people that.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you already bought a house. Are you going to just continue listening to people?
Right.
Yeah.
You've got a 3-story house.
Man up. If you can afford $100,000 for a water slide that goes through your house, go for it. I'd say go for it.
Go for it. Put it online. Get subscribers, pay for that slide.
Yeah, and pictures or it didn't happen.
Right,
no,
for
right,
sure.
yeah.
You need video.
Yeah, I tell you what, if you do that, I'll put it up, put pictures of it on my website.
Right, for sure. Here's somebody who heard the salutation rule, Fritz, who says, "Good morning, Don, MJ, and Fritz. I love your show. It's very informative."
It's like a formal letter.
Right, I've been shamed into asking correctly. Anyway, their question is it worth it to split their monthly mortgage payment in half and make the payment bi-monthly? Diane is asking.
Yeah, thanks for that question, Diane. Yeah, that's a good question.
That's a great question.
There's a program you can do. A lot of lenders do it, but also a lot of aftermarket companies will approach you about it. They have found a way to make a little profit on this. So what it's called, basically a biweekly payment plan.
Mm-hmm.
So what it does, instead of you making 12 full payments, one per month of your mortgage payment, you end up making a payment every 2 weeks of half of your mortgage payment. So what it ends up being, because there's 26 biweekly periods in a year, so you end up making 26 payments of half of the mortgage instead of 12 payments of the full mortgage. The bottom line is, at the end of the year, you've made an extra month's worth of payments. And it can be good. It can help you go faster on your payments. I don't feel like it's the best way. I feel like it's kind of an in the middle thing. The reason is, when you make those extra payments that you're making, that one full extra payment, if you have a 30-year mortgage, about 80% of that is interest. Only about 20% of that is principal when you're in the early days of a mortgage. And then that, as the mortgage goes on over the years, that percentage shifts, kind of seesaws. So, when you're in the later part of your mortgage, you're paying 80% towards principal and only 20% towards interest. So I think, the biweekly payment is not a bad thing to do. It'll get you done a little faster, but an even faster way to do it is just take one full month's worth of money each year and pay that 100% towards principal, instead of making that extra payment by doing it that way. So that way, instead of you putting just a portion of 1 month's payment towards your principal, you're putting the equivalent of probably 5 or 6 times that towards principal every year.
And we've talked about before that happening. A lot of times people do that with their tax refund.
Yeah, a lot of people tell me they do that with their tax refund. When they get it back, they'll take half of that and they'll just put it down towards principal and, do something else with the other. There are also, and I hear back from clients that there are a number of companies, like when we refinance a mortgage, a lot of times they'll get bombarded with mail from companies that are offering different insurances and biweekly payments and things like that. If you're going to do the biweekly, I would do it through your servicer and not through a third-party company, because guess what?
They got to make money.
Third-party companies making $1 there somewhere.
They got to wet their beak.
Or else they wouldn't be. If they weren't making any money, they wouldn't be able to send out those millions of letters.
Taste.
Yeah. So do it through your lender if you want to do it. But I would say, to me, the best way to do it is just save up that extra money, and once a year, just make a flat payment towards principal, and you'll go much faster. Great question, Diane. Thanks for texting that into 77031.
Diane.
I heard you talking about FHA Streamline loans a few weeks ago, and I received an offer from my current mortgage company for one. I can't remember if you said they were a good idea or not. Bought the house 3 years ago and have a 4% rate.
Happens like that.
Yeah. They're offering 3.25. Is that good?
So I'm seeing this a lot. A lot of servicers and banks and lenders are sending out FHA Streamline offers, and it sounds like a good thing, and it can be for some people. But I would say for the majority of folks, before you take that offer, you need to let me look and see for you if you want. Go to homeloansradio.com, hit apply now, and send me their quote, and I'll show you what a conventional loan quote would look like. Because if you do an FHA Streamline, you're still going to have PMI on your loan.
PMI forever.
So the private mortgage insurance. So even if you get down to 3.25%, it's not a fabulous rate, but it depends on your credit score. If your credit score is over 740, you should be down in the 2s, not in the low 3s. But if your credit score is maybe around a 640 or something like that, then 3.25 might be the best that you're going to be able to get. But I would probably not do that offer. Get a quote of a conventional loan with no PMI or reduced PMI. Even if you have to have PMI on your conventional loan, it drops off in a couple of years. The FHA stays on there forever. So
maybe you should remind people what PMI is.
Yeah, PMI is a private mortgage insurance. So whenever you buy a house with less than 20% down, you're going to have that payment on there, and that PMI. It doesn't do anything for you. It just helps insure the bank in case you get foreclosed on. If you can't make your payments, it gives them money to help, take the house from you, to pay for legal fees, to get it fixed up and resell it. So PMI is not something you want. I mean, it's good when you're buying a house. It lets you do it for, 3%, 3.5% down payment. So you don't have to save up, 20%, which could be a lot on a $300,000 house. 20% is $60,000. That's a lot for most people to save up, especially on their first house. That's an excellent question. Thanks for texting that in. But what I would say is take that FHA quote, hit me up at homeloansradio.com. Let me put together a conventional quote and show you how that PMI is going to come off of there, in addition to lowering your rate. I think that's a better way to go. You're listening to Home Loans Radio. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Sabrina from the News Junkie, and that mortgage guy Don is my best friend. And now back to that mortgage guy Don on Real Radio.